Okay, looks like it's time to get started. Hello everyone. I hope you're joining us safe, healthy, happy from the comfort and security of your own home. Since so many of us are working from our homes, go ahead and tweet a picture of your work from home setup and include hashtag VDI Summit so we can see how creative you've gotten. If you have questions after the session today, I'd encourage you to go to the IGEL booth and ask. They have some sales and tech folks there to help you out. And slides will be shared, I suppose, after the event, but I can tell you that for 30 days, this video will be provided to you to review again if you'd like. Stick around for the raffle at the end of the event, and thank you to our sponsors, of which IGEL is one. IGEL has been a close partner of Log and BSI for a while now, and includes our software in their IGEL OS. Simon Townsend couldn't make it today, but his backup speaker, who doesn't need an introduction. He's been a prolific influence in the VDI community for years throughout his podcast, blog, speaking engagements, etc., which I've enjoyed immensely. And he's also one of the coolest people I've ever met. Joining you from his home in Germany, I'd like to hand it over to Doug Brown to discuss a very relevant topic, particularly in today's massive work from home culture. Take it away, Doug.
Hey, Blair, thank you so much for that very nice introduction. You're way too kind to me. As Blair said, and as you definitely recognize, I'm not Simon. I don't have that beautiful accent of his. I'm just Doug, an American stuck in Germany. Very happy to be in Germany, by the way. And I'm really happy also to be here presenting to you guys. My job at IGEL is the Vice President of Community. And one of the great things we have at IGEL is not just happy customers and partners and an amazing solution, but we have a great community, and that's my job. And I really love it because I get to work with all you guys. And so with no further ado, let's get straight to it. I'm quite excited to talk about this because I don't get the pleasure of talking about the IGEL solution enough. And we have such a great product. So that being said, let's start off with a little bit of a history, and where we came from. If you remember, if you're old enough, I remember I was just a little boy at the time, but my father would go to the office, right? And at the office, they might have had a computer, and he worked from the office. And many years later, this great company called Citrix came around and sort of changed everything. And they said, it's not just about the office anymore. You can really compute from home, from anywhere, right? And you can install the product once and it can go out to all these different locations. I tell you, it's one of the, other than my two children, it's the most beautiful things my eyes have ever seen. It's the first day I ever saw Citrix. And I still believe that today. And then many years later, VMware came around and they created their remoting solution, and they've done a great job extending and embracing what Citrix is doing and providing that out to all of us, and have many very happy customers. And of course, this, just like any great industry, it sort of explodes, and now we have tons of different services and ways to compute in this, remoting mindset. We have technologies like Frame, which you probably heard of from today already, and Ruben, which is just amazing technology, Parallels, and of course you have the big cloud guys, right? The Amazons, the Microsoft, the Googles. And what's also sort of neat is you see that Citrix and VMware and Frame, for example, too, is actually leveraging that cloud. And so the world's getting a little bit more complex, and we're computing from tons of different locations, right? But what happened in the, what sort of the reality of it is things are getting more complex, but the endpoints themselves is somewhat stayed the same. And I started doing Citrix in the mid to late 90s. And one of the things when I first joined Citrix, I thought to myself, well, where's the thin client? Where's the dumb terminal? But it wasn't ready in those days. There's many reasons why. So we stuck with Windows. It was a great solution. But over the time, and you guys have probably all experienced this, is we have security issues. How do you deploy updates? It's patched all the time, right? And rightfully so, right? How do you manage that? The cost of endpoint management is going through the roof, right? Hardware compatibility. Does the latest version work on the hardware that we have? No, it doesn't. So now we need to buy more hardware, right? Again, the costs are going. And of course, cloud compatibility. And even if you're using an existing thin client vendor, or maybe a zero client. I love talking about zero clients because when zero clients came out, the marketing was it does not have an operating system. That's not true. What it was is that client only connected to one back end. So maybe that just connected to Citrix. But if you want to now use WVD, for example, well, you're sort of you're out of luck. It's not there. You can't use it on that. So there's a bunch of things that are drive up the complexity, drive up the cost, and drive up the nightmare of managing it at the end of the day. At IGEL, we ultimately believe, and this is why you're seeing so many people excited, so many customers excited, so many influencers talking about it, is because we believe and we know that we have a better way to compute. And I like to say it's the Citrix way to compute, but it's from the client, it's from the endpoint, right? So what we're able to do really is, deploy that operating system, or deploy the IGEL operating system on those endpoints, be it an existing computer, be it a repurposed computer, right? You get better performance on it. You get secure. We're secure by design. We're a read-only operating system. It becomes much easier to manage, and I'll talk about management as we move forward. And it's available day one, right away, to all those different clouds I mentioned and all those different solutions. And as they update them, we update our solution. And you can then, in return, deploy that out to any, as simple as can be. Simple as really a click. And we like to say that the IGEL operating system is simple, smart, and secure. And the screenshot I have today is pretty much, it's what it looks like. Here's our desktop. Now, you don't have to go into a desktop. You can launch directly into, let's say, Citrix session or a VMware session, or directly to a WVD desktop, right? But we also have a browser up there, and I'll talk about that here. Well, I'll talk about it now. There's a lot of customers out there, a lot of people out there now that are using a lot of SaaS applications. So yes, maybe you're using Citrix and you log into that desktop, and that's great. But we also have customers that are actually using our solution and using that browser I mentioned. And we can place an icon on the desktop where they double click on that icon. It has the icon for Salesforce or Office 365 or Teams or what have you, right? And they click on that, it launches, and they're into that SaaS world, right? It's a better way to compute. It's an easier way to compute. It's a no hassle way to compute, right? And one of the things we're so proud of, and Jed, our CEO, is so amazingly proud of, we all are, every single person in the company, is that we've been sort of recognized by Microsoft as one of their launch partners of Windows Virtual Desktop VDI from the hardware partners. And you might have even saw Jed up on stage at Ignite. And what an amazing day that was, to think that, little old IGEL is sitting up on stage with the biggest software company in the world. And why is that? It's because we have a better way to compute, right? And we've been working with Microsoft on a Linux WVD client, and it's just a great thing. And what makes an operating system great? At the end of the day, what makes an operating system great is integrations. It's the different people that we work with, right? It's not just the IGEL OS, but it's also technologies like Login VSI, which are built into our product, right? So all you have to do is, within our management tool, enable it, maybe configure a little to point to something or what have you, depending on the integration, and off you go. As they have an update, we update and we deploy that to you, or we send that down in our OS updates. You click a few buttons and out that goes to hundreds of thousands of endpoints anywhere, anyplace, anytime. And speaking of updates, just yesterday we released IGEL OS 11.3.500, and a couple things in there that are really sort of outstanding. In fact, in the community, they called it Christmas Day. I thought that was pretty impressive, or CP Day, because we released custom partitions as a base product feature. So everyone gets that when they have the IGEL operating system. And that allows, it's a thin client at IGEL OS is a lockdown secure operating system by nature, right? But we also have the ability to install applications. We do that via this custom partition without getting into the technical sides of that. We have many CPs out there. For example, Teams. Teams has a Linux client now, and we have some people out there deploying that via a custom partition. It's all done within the management console. They click a few buttons and off it goes to all the devices they wanted to deploy. We also added a starter license too, so right out of the box you get 30 days. As you walk through the wizard, you can actually have a little bit of extra time, or up to 90 days, or something, 180 days. You have a lot of days. So, and if you need anything, join the community. I'll make sure it happens. and many other people are using it to do many great things in this sort of sad time of, everyone changing how they work, right? So the management tool, one thing that's really amazing about our management tool is that it's not just, it's as we design the operating system, they also design the management tool. And everything you see within the OS, from deploying an application to the colors, the look and feel, the wallpaper, can be managed. And it can be managed by one person. We actually have a great case study of a big giant company deploying out to tens of thousands of workstations, and one person manages that. And they don't even manage it. They call it automation. They configured it, and it just works. It's really a beautiful thing. So if we dive a little bit deeper and look at this, what you see here is sort of the architecture flow, sort of to speak. On the left here, you have a bunch of different devices. Some of these are IGEL, some of these are Dell, some of these are traditional workstations. It doesn't matter. The user gets the exact same experience, no matter what device. As we repurpose the device and install the operating system, the IGEL OS on that, it can connect to the back end, and away we go. And you see also something here in the DMZ. We have something called the IGEL Cloud Gateway, the ICG, and this allows secure communications anywhere, any place, anytime. It's a very simple diagram because IGEL, again, is a very simple solution, but very powerful. Like I said, we sell an operating system. Many people think of IGEL as a thin client. Of course, we sell hardware. I'll talk about that. But really, at the end of the day, it's an operating system. And you can deploy that operating system down to basically any x86 device, a 64-bit. Thin clients, laptops, PCs, you name it. In this work from home world, we're seeing this where a lot of folks are out there saying, okay, let's take this old machine or something that was in the basement of someone's house, and let's install the IGEL OS on it, and away they compute. But we also have something really great, and it's called the UD Pocket. And what this is actually the IGEL operating system installed on that little USB stick. So all you have to do is inject that into a PC, into a Mac, into an x86 device, boot that, turn on the device. It works with secure boots, so it is. We can't guarantee that the operating system is our operating system, right? And away you go. It boots up. They're in the operating system. They're connected to your back end. They're working, right, on their existing machines, on their home device, their mother-in-law's device, library device, if we could go back to libraries, right? And when they remove that USB, the device on the endpoint is the way it was before. We don't change anything. We don't convert anything. We don't install anything. It all runs from that UD Pocket. Of course, like I said, we sell hardware. We sell some of the best hardware in the world. It's all made here in Germany by Germans on the line. In fact, these guys are so brave, they're still making machines in our offices right now, which is really amazing. They're the only folks up there doing that because they love it. And we make some great hardware. So a bunch of different stuff. And some of the influencers out there, like Benny Trish, for example, is a really great guy, and he does a lot of performance testing, and he's tested all these. So there's papers on all this. Unfortunately, I don't have the time today to dive into that. But if you want that information, stop by our booth, or join the community, ask me, reach out to an IGEL guy, and we can share that. It's really great hardware. And why IGEL? I don't know how much time, Blair, I've gone. I'm trying to make sure I get through this in 15 minutes. But why IGEL? At the end of the day, we're simple, we're smart, we're secure, right? You can convert any device. And when we say convert, we mean install our operating system, right? We're not converting anything. We're taking that and we're putting our operating system on and making it better. You can manage thousands of devices, 100,000s of devices actually now, with this very simple to use operating management tool. It's going to save you money. We're working with almost everybody in the industry, and if we're not, either they're banging on our door or we're banging on theirs, and we're adding it. And of course, we're secure, which is as important as almost anything. So that's what I have for you guys. Please, if you'd like to learn more, reach out to us, igel.com. Stop by the booth here. Reach out to me. My email address is brown@igel.com. I'm more than happy to help you. Just like everyone you'll meet at IGEL. It's the greatest culture I've ever walked into, and I've been in this industry for a long time. I'm really, really proud to work here, and I think you guys are absolutely love what you experience when you go down the IGEL path. So Blair, I don't know how I'm doing on time. Is that about right?
1 minute to spare, Doug. You rock.
I love it. I love it.
Man. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, and thanks everyone else, and thanks Login VSI. I think you guys are doing just an absolutely great job with this. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. I can't think of any other way to deploy hundreds of launchers around the world with the click of a button other than to do that with the IGEL UMS. So really stoked. we do have 3 questions and we don't have time to answer them. So Cordova, Jason, and Richard, I would really encourage you to head over to IGEL's booth. I know they've got staff there now. And they should be able to get your question answered because they all look like very good questions. So why don't you take those over to the IGEL booth and get them answered. Doug, thanks again.
Thank you so much.